Hello, you guys. So today we are going to be talking about the health and wellness company called Vemma, which is a prior multi-level marketing company and now an alleged pyramid scheme shut down by the Federal Trade Commission, aka the FTC. Now, before we get into the video, I just want to introduce you to Vemma's CEO, BK.
My name is BK Borrego, and I own a company called Vemma. And it's been called a few things lately, and I want to talk about that for just a minute here. Like any good movie, you're going to find a critic or two. We found a couple. Critics talk about our business model, and they throw around the term scam and pyramid scheme when they're criticizing how we do business. Now, it's super easy to throw those terms around, but it's another thing to prove it. And these small-minded critics call this industry a scam. So, critics, don't hate on us because we're different. Because we're a healthy choice. And don't call us a frickin' pyramid scheme because we're not. And here are just, if you did your homework, here's a few glaring reasons why we're not. Number one, we sell a real product. So for those of you that hate me, those of you that hate Vemma, those of you that hate our brand partners, get the flip over it, man. First off, it's not healthy to hate. And I remember something that my dad used to tell me. He said, son, the dogs bark at the moon, but it still shines bright. And I'm here to tell you, Vemma shines hope to those that want it, health to those that need it, and we are not stopping because of some barking dogs on YouTube or on the internet. So instead of hating on us because we're different, just realize something. We are not going anywhere.
So clearly, years ago, BK felt that the haters and the critics were wrong, that he was just running a normal multi-level marketing company by word-of-mouth sales. Well, unfortunately, that isn't the truth. So let's get into it and talk about how this company got shut down for being an alleged pyramid scheme. Hello, you guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about something that I am so excited for. So I have not been this excited for a new series of mine and kind of like a new idea I've come up with in a very, very, very long time. So this new series I'm starting is we are going to be diving deep. So doing deep dives into MLMs that have been shut down by the FTC or have been shut down because they're illegal pyramid schemes, MLMs that have had to stop doing the MLM model, etc. So I am very excited. Today we are going to be talking about the MLM Vemma or Vemma. I have heard it pronounced two different ways, and I will probably interchange how I say them, so keep that in mind. So we're going to talk about Vemma, how it was shut down, and then how this MLM relates to other MLMs that are up and running. So I wanted to not only dive deep into these MLMs that have been shut down for being pyramid schemes and stuff, I wanted to also, at the end of the deep dive, point out all of the similarities I found between the MLM that was shut down and MLMs that are still running today. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So buckle in, it's going to be a long one, and let's get into it. So first of all, what is Vemma? So Vemma was a nutrition company that was ran as a multi-level marketing company selling dietary supplements. And the company was based in Tempe, Arizona, was founded in 2004 by Benson K, Lauren, and Karen B. So Benson K is also known as BK. That is the brother, and then the two sisters, Lauren and Karen, were the CEOs of Vemma. The interesting thing about these CEOs, though, is that Vemma was not their only MLM and not their first MLM. So in general, first, the CEO's parents were actually in Amway. So BK, their son, started helping his parents with Amway, and he actually joined Amway when he became of legal age to join Amway. He did soon after that decide to part ways with Amway and clearly get into actually making his own multi-level marketing companies himself versus just being a rep in these companies. So we really got to see that BK and the sisters weren't just opened up to network marketing because they stumbled upon it one day. No, they had parents that were in an MLM where BK ended up joining that same MLM his parents were in, and then soon after parted ways and decided to build his own multi-level marketing companies. So soon after BK got out of Amway, he actually opened up a company called New Vision. So that was an MLM back in 1995. I think it's really important to talk about this MLM for a quick second before we dive into Vemma or Vemma. So like I said, New Vision started in 1995 2005, and a couple years later, the FTC actually went after New Vision for making unsubstantiated claims in their ads saying their supplements were God's recipe. Yes, you heard that right. They were saying their supplements were God's recipe. So with that, they would have advertisements claiming that God's recipe could cure attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, mostly known as ADD or ADHD today. So they would claim that their products were God's recipe, and they would claim that it could cure ADD and ADHD. The FTC even stated that New Vision would claim that God's recipe was an effective treatment to prescription drugs like Ritalin. So in the end, the FTC and New Vision actually came to a settlement that stated they would no longer make any health claims surrounding the prevention, mitigation of cure of disorders like ADD or ADHD. So New Vision was also a company that sold dietary supplements. So we could kind of see throughout BK's time, because he was the main person, BK's always the main person doing the ads, and that I could see was really the core CEO of these companies. Even though his sisters did run the companies with him, BK seemed to be the main topic if you would research this company. So that's who I'll be talking about most of the time. But BK, we could see through his way through Amway with New Vision and then onto Vemma that he really was always into dietary supplements. New Vision was also a company that would sell dietary supplements just like Vemma. So along with the claims that they could cure ADD and ADHD, that wouldn't be the only health claims made by BK and his companies, but this is just an instance of them finally being held accountable for making certain health claims. I'm not going to be diving into all of the health claims with Vemma or with New Vision. I'm more so going to be diving into the FTC and settlements and how they got shut down as a pyramid scheme versus going over their health claims and product claims that they would make. But just keep in mind that this is not the only claim they would make. So now let's move on to Vemma. I'm just going to say Vemma. Vemma's easier for me. That's how I naturally want to pronounce it. So I'm going to say Vemma. So a couple years after this settlement with New Vision and the FTC, where they settled that stating that they would no longer make these claims, New Vision's operations were transferred to their sister company called Vemma. So Vemma was opened up in 2004 by BK and his two sisters. And again, this MLM also focused on nutrition supplements like energy drinks and protein shakes, again, pretty similar to New Vision. When it came to Vemma's recruitment videos and the group of individuals that they would target the most, they would really promote to college-age students. And in my opinion, that poses a lot of issues. College students aged 18 to 21 are not only young and impressionable, they are vulnerable financially most of the time. Most of the time, we see college students at that age have to take out student loans, work multiple jobs sometimes to be able to pay for those student loans and be able to pay to just live their everyday lives. So we could see that Vemma was not only a multi-marketing company running its everyday operations, making health claims, we would also see that they would go after a very vulnerable group of people, and that was college students. Because we see in MLMs, a lot of the times they go after a very vulnerable group of people, whether that is new mothers who just gave birth, whether it's college students, or whether it's military spouses. It's always a vulnerable group of people that we see MLMs target. So Truth in Advertising stated that a couple students started speaking out about Vemma after losing anywhere from $500 to $1,000. A student named Muldoon, hopefully I stated that properly, but a student named Muldoon even stated that he could not afford the $150 a month auto ships needed to continue with Vemma. He even stated that he was never told and did not realize he would be having to make these purchases in the first place. With that, based on the income disclosure statement at the time, which was, I believe, the 2013 income disclosure statement for Vemma, it showed that 97% of people who joined Vemma did not make a living wage, and 86% of them would make less than $3,000 a year. So we would see that cost of starter packs and the cost of that monthly auto ship of $150 every month that people would have to do, not only was it not promoted to them in the beginning, so people like Muldoon, who ended up joining the MLM, was never told that he would have to make these monthly purchases. So we can see that a lot of the times they weren't very open with the cost of what this MLM would cost, or the amount that this MLM would cost. So with more people becoming aware about Vemma, the more we would see the CEO, BK, speaking out, trying to defend Vemma. I found multiple video clips of this CEO going around saying, oh, our haters, they're just haters. We have the best MLM there is, or we have the best business model there is, so on and so forth. Kind of what we see a lot in multi-level marketing companies, and how CEOs and reps defend their companies and defend their business model is exactly what we would see BK doing as more people were becoming aware of not just Vemma, but multi-level marketing companies in general. As we could see, this also came to bite him in the ass, I would say, when he ended up settling with the FTC for operating an alleged pyramid scheme and now can't even operate any other multi-level marketing companies ever again. So now let's walk through a timeline with the FTC. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to dive into, and a lot of things that happen with the FTC and Vemma that I feel is really important to highlight whenever we're talking about how Vemma ended up being taken down. So in August 2015, a federal judge agreed with the FTC to temporarily halt Vemma as they were alleging it was operating as an illegal pyramid scheme that lures in college students with getting rich versus working a normal 9-to-5. They were being accused of falsely promoting how much income college students would be able to earn without truly expressing, number one, the odds people had to make that amount of money, which we know by their income disclosure statement back in 2013 that 86% of people made under $3,000 a year. So they weren't being open with the odds people would have to actually get rich. And then number two, they weren't mentioning what people were having to do in order to get rich, which is AKA recruiting. That's how the top reps in Vemma that made millions of dollars got to the top, was by recruiting thousands of people. So on top of that, Vemma was promoting to new reps that they were needing to sign up with a $500 to $600 starter pack, and then again spending that $150 a month to remain eligible for commissions, all while promoting the act of recruitment. The FTC was also alleging that, one, consumer losses are inevitable because Vemma is an illegal pyramid scheme that rewards affiliates for recruiting participants rather than selling products while also making false income claims. The FTC also alleged that even though products were being sold to new recruits and the company had products, that they could still be deemed a pyramid scheme. And then lastly, it was made clear by the FTC that Vemma reps found that they would make more money in the recruitment process versus selling products to consumers who actually wanted them. So this is really important, in my opinion, for us to take a second to talk about, because we see to this day that MLM reps are taught, and because they are taught this, they also promote this on their social medias that, oh, we aren't a pyramid scheme because we sell product, or, well, when you join, you don't need to buy product, etc. But what we know in the end is that most people in MLMs are forced to buy products monthly to stay active. And then in order to rank advance, they have to stay active. And then the requirements to stay active are buying products. So we see that a lot of times in MLMs, people are forced to buy products to do things like rank advance and get access to more bonuses and to be able to actually get up in the MLM. And then the lawsuit with Vemma and the FTC proves everything that I have been talking about since day one, talking about multi-level marketing companies, which is that a pyramid scheme can have products, because in general, something can be deemed a pyramid scheme even if it has products. So that whole argument from MLM reps where they say, well, our MLM has products, so it can't be a pyramid scheme, is totally irrelevant. We know that in order to be deemed a pyramid scheme, the main money maker for pyramid schemes is recruitment versus the product sales to consumers. So that was really the argument that the FTC was making with Vemma, is that, hey, they do have products, but they can still be deemed a pyramid scheme, and then they are selling more products to their reps versus actual consumers who want them. But fast forward to December of 2016, an article came out from the FTC titled, Vemma agreed to ban on pyramid scheme practices and settle the FTC charges. In this article, it explained how the FTC presented information on how Vemma was encouraging reps to buy product in order to qualify for bonuses, and on top of that, pretty much recruiting people and having them do the same thing. So they were seeing that, okay, Vemma reps were recruiting people, forcing them to buy products to qualify for bonuses and to rank advance, and then they were teaching the next line of people to do the same thing. So in my opinion, we see this in many MLMs. For example, Beachbody. In Beachbody, they have certain qualifications for bonuses. And in order to get those bonuses, you must rank up. And in order to rank up, you have certain PV requirements that you must hit every single month, meaning most of the time, in order to rank advance and get access to bonuses, you are having to buy product versus selling product to actual consumers. Same goes for Monat as another example. Monat, you actually have a PV requirement per rank starting anywhere between 200 PV to 500 PV you need every single month. So in order to hit those higher ranks or to get to those bonuses, you have to be buying that much amount of product in PV. So all in all, this is just another example that other MLMs are doing this. And I'm not saying that other MLMs are pyramid schemes or anything, but what I'm saying is that Vemma and this aspect of what the FTC presented to show or to allege that Vemma was a pyramid scheme is something that we see other MLMs doing. A lot of MLMs have just been finding ways around explicitly saying, oh, it's required to buy products. So by them kind of finding ways around stating that, that's pretty much, I feel, how they haven't really gotten caught yet on that aspect. Now back to the article, not my Beachbody and Monat examples. To continue the conversation about Vemma settling with the FTC, we know that Vemma was allegedly giving false income claims, and by that, misleading new reps with promises that they could earn substantial income through the MLM by encouraging reps to buy products and recruit more reps to do the same. This led the FTC to allege that Vemma was compensating reps mainly for the recruitment of others versus an actual demand for the product with consumers. This is clearly a clear pyramid scheme in the eyes of the FTC. In the end, Vemma did settle with the FTC, and something that's very important that I mention is with them settling, they did not admit to any wrongdoing. So instead of kind of going through the whole process, as a lot of other companies do, they will just settle and then they will not admit to any wrongdoing and kind of just listen to whatever the FTC says so they don't have to keep going with the legal process. So it was shown that the settlement and the legal documents within that showcase that Vemma and the CEO are now banned from any business ventures that, number one, pays any compensation for recruiting new participants, two, ties a participant's compensation or inability to be compensated to the participant's purchases, three, pays a participant compensation related to sales in a pay period unless the majority of the revenue generated during that period by the participant and others the participant had recruited comes from sales to non-participants. So that's a tongue twister. Pretty much they're just saying, hey, you have to pay people and most of the money has to be coming from actual customers and consumers, not your reps buying products and people earning their money that way. The order also showed that the defendants are barred from ever participating in any pyramid, Ponzi scheme, or chain marketing ever again. So that includes BK and his sisters. Along with being barred from any pyramid, Ponzi scheme, or chain marketing ever again, they were also barred from making false health claims and income claims, as they have a long history with making false income claims and health claims, as I've mentioned this whole entire time. So moving on to September 19th, 2019, an article came out from the FTC stating that the FTC would be mailing checks that total out to $2.2 million to people who lost money in the alleged pyramid scheme run by Vemma. There would be a total of 28,224 checks, averaging $78.93 to each victim of this multi-level marketing company, aka alleged pyramid scheme that has now been shut down. So as we can see, with the FTC, they started with the halt on the company in general and a federal judge making a halt with Vemma and all of their finances and everything like that, to the settlement that happened with Vemma and then pretty much agreeing with the FTC to not participate in false income claims, health claims, along with a couple of the other things that they did demand from Vemma to do. With that being said, though, you would think that Vemma would not even be able to run anymore. That's unfortunately not the case. Even with all of the lawsuits and all of the settlements that the CEO BK and his siblings have gone through between New Vision and Vemma, they are technically still up and running today. While they're no longer a multi-level marketing company, they still sell their products online. And on top of that, BK and his sisters now own a third company, a third health and wellness company called Bod Pro or Bod E Pro. And if you actually go on their website, there's a little tab where you can actually buy the Vemma products still. So it looks like Vemma and Bod E Pro are kind of connected in that way, where you can still go on Vemma's website and buy products, but you can actually go on Bod E Pro and get products through that website too. But it looks like they have gone on to another company that has to deal with health and wellness. But in general, Vemma is still up and running. And I thought that it was really important to mention that because some people may not look up this company. They may not know about the CEO, BK, and his siblings. They may not know about Bod E Pro. They may not know these things and then still buying products from, that company. So I definitely wanted to mention that, hey, the products are still up and running. They just may be on another website or kind of presented a little bit differently. So all in all, we were able to see that the FTC was able to stop a company that was so clearly focused on recruitment versus product sale. While yes, they were selling products, they were having a lot of people buying products, the issue at hand was the fact that most of the product sales were the reps themselves. The reps were being forced to buy all of these products, to have all this PV monthly, to buy these huge $600 to $700 starter packs when they got started, and then they were pretty much taught to do the same thing with the next line of people or the next recruits. So instead of the company and the reps focusing on the aspect of selling the product to just normal consumers, they were more so focused on the recruitment aspect, which we know is a clear sign of a pyramid scheme. When most of your money is coming from recruitment and recruitment is incentivized in that way. And on top of that, the FTC was able to stop a company that had less than 1% of reps making a livable wage, that we were seeing over 86% of people made under $3,000 in this MLM back in 2013. So we can clearly see that a lot of people lost money. And if you actually research Vemma today, you can see that a lot of college students actually started speaking out against Vemma, and they started talking about the fact that they were losing a lot of money. I believe if you look up truthinadvertising.com and you look at all of their threads about Vemma, because they are really great with keeping up with all of that stuff and documenting it all. They're amazing. That website, if you want to go look them up, I believe they're a nonprofit, but I don't want to give false information, but they do a lot for holding multi-level marketing companies accountable. I'm so proud of all of the people that did speak out about their experience and the money they lost and all of the things that they went through with this MLM. Hopefully this video will help more people see the truth behind this company, the truth behind the CEO in general, which will allow you to make a more informed decision on if you want to support Vemma as just a normal health and wellness company or support the CEO and the sisters altogether. So can we get like a cheers in the comment section down below that this even happened, that Vemma was shut down for being an alleged pyramid scheme? And clearly when I mean shut down, I mean their multi-level marketing structure was shut down. Yes, the products are still up and running, but that's a win in itself to even have that happen, to have a multi-level marketing company settle with the FTC and completely shut down the MLM model is an amazing thing, because as we could see what was happening, the health claims, the income claims, the recruiting vulnerable people like college students, having them spend hundreds and thousands of dollars every year to stay active and forcing them to buy products and recruit more people, we could see that this company was hurting more people than it was helping. So I'm very glad that the FTC took those steps to do that. And now I want to talk about common denominators or similarities between Vemma and other MLMs that are currently running. So as I was researching this and writing my really long script, that's why a lot of the time I've been looking at my script versus the actual lens. But as I was writing my script, I was like, okay, what are 5 things that I can point out about Vemma, about all the information I found out about them that are similar to MLMs that are still up and running that we can talk about? Because that's the thing. We see multiple marketing companies state, well, we're legitimate. We are an MLM. We're not a pyramid scheme. Oh yeah, others have been shut down. It's because they're so different. And the truth is they're really not. And I used to believe the same thing when I was in my MLM. I believed that all MLMs were different. And again, when I left my MLM, I opened my eyes and I started researching. I was able to find out that while yeah, some companies may sell different products, they may have a different percentage of commissions that you're making with that company versus another. When you really break it down, a lot of these companies have a lot of similarities, and a lot of MLM companies running today have a lot of similarities to companies like Vemma that have been shut down for being alleged pyramid schemes. So let's get into it. And if I forget anything, comment down below if you think of anything else, but I'm going to give 5 similarities to MLMs that are still up and running versus Vemma. So number 1, both target a very vulnerable group of people. Clearly Vemma was college students, but we see other MLMs do this. We see them go after college students, new mothers, stay-at-home moms, military spouses, people who are in a vulnerable spot, whether that means they're in a vulnerable spot mentally, physically, financially, whether they're searching for a community like a lot of new moms and college students and military spouses are. We've seen Vemma doing that. We've seen them going after college students. We've seen them having recruitment ads for college students, and most of the people that they were recruiting were college students, and we watch other MLMs do the exact same thing. So when MLMs are like, oh, we're different, no, when it comes to the recruitment, most of the time, most MLMs, when you break it down, are recruiting very vulnerable people. So number 2, Vemma and MLMs running now both have what? Monthly cost, monthly PV requirements, or some sort of requirement requirements that are needed every month when it comes to products that they need to buy or products that the reps need to buy. So for Vemma, we seen that they would make their reps buy $150 worth of products a month to stay active. Well, we see 99.9% of MLMs doing this today. Even if the MLM states, like when you join, hey, we have no monthly cost, as you decide when you're in your MLM and as you are told and trained that you need to rank advance, because people who rank advance are the people who get to the top. The people who get to the top are the percentage of people making that, livable wage. As you choose to rank advance, because that's what you're going to be taught to do, and you try and get access to higher ranks and to higher bonuses and make your way up in the MLM, what's going to happen is you're going to notice that there are monthly purchase requirements that you are going to need. And it's pretty much inevitable as you get higher up in the ranks. Now, some MLMs do have you have an active requirement fee, but you can get it one of two ways. And one way would be to buy that amount of product or to sell it. But a lot of the times, reps are struggling to sell products. So for example, if an MLM says, let's think Q Sciences, if Q Sciences says, hey, you need to have 80 PV on auto ship, like $80 worth of product you're buying on auto ship every month to stay active, to rank advance, to get access to those bonuses. Or two, you could sell $150 worth of PV, so $150 worth of product a month to stay active. If you don't sell the $150 worth of product to customers to stay active, you are required to have that other product on auto ship coming to you every single month. In other MLMs, they have other incentives. For example, Beachbody, they have what's called Success Club, where they're always promoting that reps need to hit what's called Success Club. And in order to do that, you need auto ship of 90 PV every single month coming in. So you're going to see that while a lot of MLMs will say, oh, there's no monthly purchase requirements, because they may have that other option of, oh, you don't need to buy products to stay active, you can sell those products to customers. Well, what happens when you don't sell that product? What happens when your rank needs a certain amount of GV or downline volume that is required? Because you see that in companies like Monat. I really know these comp plans off the top of my head, y'all. But with Monat, you need a certain downline volume of thousands and thousands of volume points in order to maintain your ranks each month. So that means that your downline needs to be buying products or selling that amount of products. So in the end, a lot of the times what happens is you are required to purchase those products. So we definitely seen that in Vemma, and we see it in most other MLMs. Number 3, all MLMs, including Vemma, have similar statistics on how many people make money and how many do not make money. So we clearly seen that with Vemma's 2013 income disclosure statement, that a very small percentage of people ever made a livable wage. Again, 86% of people made less than $3,000 a year. That's not including like what they profited. That's just including, the money that they were making, not the amount of money that they were spending and, their expenses. So we were seeing in Vemma that only a handful, like 1% at the top, 2% at the top, seem to be making a livable wage based on that income disclosure statement. Well, most MLMs to this day, if you look on the FTC's website, they state that most people in multi-level marketing companies make no money or lose money. We have seen by studies by the AARP all the way to John M. Taylor's study that 90% of people most likely will not make any money in an MLM, or 99% of people won't make profit in a multi-level marketing company, and they definitely won't make a livable wage. So this is, again, another thing that's common. What happened in Vemma with the amount of people that were actually making money or making a livable wage versus those who weren't are pretty similar in every single other MLM, especially when the FTC states that most people who join MLMs make no money or lose money, and some go into debt. Number 4, most MLMs today, including Vemma, focus on recruitment versus product sales to consumers. And that's the really important aspect. So with most MLMs, you will see that product sales coming from their recruits versus product sales coming from their customers is normally higher. So you will see the fact that their recruits are the bulk of where they're making that money, or that commissions, their recruits buying products is the bulk of where those products are being sold versus being sold to actual consumers. So in the end, I would be very curious one day if we could ever see the statistics, if we looked at the top reps in these multi-level marketing companies, if we would be given the statistics on how much money they're earning from their recruits buying products and stuff like that versus actual customer sales, because I think that it would be very eye-opening to a lot of people. So comment down below. I'm curious, how many MLMs do you see focus solely on recruitment and your recruits buying products over customer product sales? I'd be curious to see what you guys have to say about that. And number 5 on the similarities between Vemma and other multi-level marketing companies still running today is that both of them defend their multi-level marketing company the same way. So exactly how I showed you guys in the intro, I showed y'all exactly how BK, Vemma's CEO, defended his company and the things he stated to make his company seem more legit. How many MLMs do we see do the same exact thing? How many MLMs do we see have the same exact argument? Like, oh, my MLM's not a pyramid scheme because we sell product, or my MLM's not a pyramid scheme because it's still running, and oh, my MLM is not a pyramid scheme because pyramid schemes are illegal, or like anything like that. Where do you see that happening? Because I feel like when we watch people and companies defend multi-level marketing in general, when they defend the business model, they all do it in the same way. And it's eye-opening to see a CEO that pretty much lost his whole company for being an alleged pyramid scheme acting the same way that MLM CEOs and MLM reps are acting today with MLMs that are actually up and running currently. So I'd be curious to see what you guys have to say about that. In conclusion, I would love to know what you guys thought about this video down below. I had the best time scripting this video and finding out all this information. It did take me weeks to do and to research this company and learn a lot about this company and the CEO, but it was a blast. So do you think that Vemma has a lot of similarities to MLMs that are currently up and running? I'd be curious about that. And in my opinion, I see a lot of similarities, but again, that's just my opinion. Anyways, I'm very excited to continue this series on MLMs that have been shut down and comparing them to MLMs that are still up and running currently. So definitely let me know what you guys thought about this video down below. I'm very excited for the next ones. I believe I'm doing Advocare next, so be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in Friday's video. What that MLM had to, So in August of 2015, a federal judge agreed with the FTC to temporarily, I'm so tongue twisted. They were also barred from making false, Now moving on to along with being barred from, So in conclusion, I would love to you guys, what the fuck?